A quiet black man wearing simple clothes stands patiently at the velvet rope outside the hottest club in Miami. He doesn't tap his foot. He doesn't check his phone. He just waits, a picture of stillness in a sea of nervous energy. The man is Marcus King, and his patience is a weapon, forged in boardrooms and back alleys, though no one here could ever guess it. The air is thick with expensive perfume and the desperate hope of being chosen. Inside, the bass drum of the music is a steady, pounding heartbeat. Outside, another kind of heart beats, the cold, arrogant heart of the club's entrance, ruled by a bouncer named Derek Cole. The moment of injustice arrives, not with a crash, but with a sneer. The arrogant bouncer, Derek, humiliates Marcus. He mocks his looks, the simple polo shirt, the clean but unremarkable jeans. He kicks him out of the line in front of a laughing, preening crowd. A casual flick of his wrist, a dismissal as complete as it is cruel. What no one knows, what they couldn't possibly imagine, is the secret power hidden behind Marcus's calm gaze. He is a billionaire, a ghost who owns more rooms than anyone here will ever sleep in, and the famous DJ inside, the one they are all desperate to see. The one Derek calls a musical god. That DJ is Devon King, Marcus's real blood brother. In just a few minutes, every ounce of Derek's carefully constructed world, his career, his pride, his illusion of power, will be systematically dismantled before a stunned, silenced crowd. The bouncer thinks he holds all the cards, but the man he just threw away owns the entire casino. The night is about to turn, and the reckoning will be absolute. Before we find out what happens next, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and if you think nobody should ever be judged by their clothes or skin color, smash that like button right now. The night air in Miami was a warm, wet blanket, clinging to the skin of the 100 or so people waiting outside Pulse. The club wasn't just a place. It was a destination, a social summit where the beautiful, the wealthy and the connected came to reaffirm their status. The velvet rope was a line drawn in the sand, separating the chosen from the hopefuls. Marcus King stood on the side of the hopefuls, a deliberate choice. He was dressed in a navy blue polo shirt, the kind you could buy at any department store, and a pair of well-fitting but ordinary jeans. His sneakers were clean, but they weren't the limited edition status symbols that adorned the feet of the young men peacocking around him. He simply waited, his hands loosely clasped behind his back, his posture relaxed. He watched the scene with an analytical stillness, a quiet observer in a world built on noise. The man guarding the gate was Derek Cole. Derek was a monument to his own importance. He stood over 6 feet tall, with a barrel chest poured into a black t-shirt that was 2 sizes too small, designed to advertise every muscle. An earpiece was curled in his ear, though he rarely listened to anything but the sound of his own voice. He held a silver clipboard, the night's guest list, but he consulted it less as a tool and more as a prop, a scepter to wield over the pleading masses. His eyes, small and hard, scanned the line not for names, but for victims. He was looking for someone to make an example of, a small power trip to fuel his ego for the next hour. His gaze swept past the giggling girls in sparkling dresses and the slick young men with gelled hair, and then it landed on Marcus. It was perfect. The man was alone. He was black. He was dressed like a nobody. Derek had found his target. He straightened up, a predator puffing its chest. He walked the length of the short rope, his boots thudding with exaggerated weight on the pavement, and stopped directly in front of Marcus. He didn't speak. He just stared, letting the silence and his intimidating presence do the work. Marcus met his gaze, his own expression unreadable, a calm pool of water. This lack of reaction seemed to irritate Derek. He wanted fear, or at least a flicker of nervous anxiety. He got nothing. "Can I help you?" Derek's voice was a low growl, thick with manufactured authority. It was a question that wasn't a question. It was a challenge. Marcus answered with a simple, polite tone. "Good evening. I'm here to see someone." He didn't offer a name. He didn't need to. He was following a specific plan, a test he was running, and Derek was the first variable. Derek let out a short, sharp laugh, a sound like tearing metal. It was a performance for the line, for the other bouncers, for the city itself. "See someone?" he repeated, his lips curling into a sneer, He gestured vaguely toward the pulsating door of the club. Everyone's here to see someone, pal. That's not how it works. He took a step closer, invading Marcus's personal space, forcing him to crane his neck slightly to maintain eye contact. You're not on the list. He hadn't even looked at the clipboard. He didn't have to. In his mind, a man who looked like Marcus could never be on the list for a place like Pulse. Marcus's voice remained even, betraying no hint of frustration. Perhaps you could check again. The name is Marcus. He kept his tone helpful, reasonable, giving the bouncer every opportunity to de-escalate, to simply do his job. But Derek wasn't interested in his job. He was interested in the power it gave him. He wanted to see this man, this calm, unimpressive man, break. Marcus. Derek said the name as if it were a joke. Marcus who? Marcus. Nobody. A few people in the line tittered nervously. They were embarrassed for Marcus, but terrified of Derek. So they chose the bouncer's side with their weak laughter. Derek's sneer widened. He saw the audience and felt emboldened. He was the star of this little sidewalk drama. Look, man, he said, dropping his voice to a confidential, condescending whisper. This isn't the place for you. We don't need any trouble tonight. The implication was clear, hanging in the humid air like a foul smell. Your kind is trouble. Your clothes are trouble. Your very presence here is trouble. Marcus held his ground. He didn't flinch. He didn't raise his voice. He simply stood there, a rock against which Derek's petty aggressions were breaking. There won't be any trouble, Marcus stated. A simple fact. I'm just here to meet my brother. This was a critical piece of information. Another test. Would the bouncer recognize the connection? Would the mention of a family member, a brother, inside the club grant him a sliver of legitimacy? Derek's eyes narrowed. Your brother, he scoffed, his voice dripping with disbelief. Right, and I'm the mayor of Miami. He looked Marcus up and down again. A slow, insulting appraisal. You? Who do you know in there, huh? Let me guess. The busboy. The laughter from the line was a little louder this time. The cruelty was becoming entertainment. Derek felt the surge of power he craved. He was in control. He was the gatekeeper. He placed a thick, heavy hand on Marcus's chest. The touch wasn't just a block, it was a shove. It was a physical assertion of dominance. Go on, get out of here, Derek growled, pushing him back a step. Go back to wherever you came from. The phrase was a classic, a tired line used by bullies for generations. Marcus stumbled slightly, but caught his balance with easy grace. He looked at the hand on his chest, then back at Derek's face. The crowd was a blur of smirking faces and averted eyes. Some were clearly uncomfortable, their smiles faltering as they witnessed the raw, ugly nature of the confrontation. Others, drunk on entitlement and the thrill of the night, were enjoying the show. Marcus saw it all. He absorbed the humiliation, the disrespect, the casual cruelty of the moment. He filed it away. Behind his calm, dark eyes, a powerful force was stirring. It wasn't anger. It was something colder, more precise. It was the quiet whirring of a complex machine preparing to execute a command. He said nothing. He simply turned, giving Derek a final, lingering look. The air crackled with unspoken tension, with the vast, cavernous gap between who Derek thought he was dealing with and who was actually standing before him. The humiliation was not over. Derek, high on his small victory, decided to press his advantage. He wanted to make an absolute spectacle of Marcus, to cement his own reputation as an unbreachable wall against the unworthy. As Marcus began to step away from the velvet rope, his dignity still intact despite the push, Derek's voice boomed across the sidewalk, sharp and laced with venom. Hey boy, he shouted. The word hung in the air, a relic from a hateful past, designed to strip a man of his dignity, to reduce him to something less than human. A hush fell over the part of the line closest to the scene. The nervous laughter died in their throats. Even the most entitled VIPs flinched. The ugliness was no longer amusing. It was raw. Marcus stopped. He didn't turn around immediately. He stood with his back to Derek, a silent statue against the neon glow of the Miami night. He could feel the eyes of the crowd on him, a mixture of pity, scorn, and morbid curiosity. Derek swaggered forward, closing the distance between them again. He was enjoying this far too much. The man's composure was a personal insult to him, and he was determined to shatter it. "You lose something?" Derek sneered, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "Maybe you're looking for the kitchen entrance? It's around back, with the rest of the help." A few of Derek's fellow security guards, standing by the club's main doors, let out coarse laughs. They were part of the same culture, a pack that asserted its dominance by preying on those they perceived as weak. A couple of drunk men in expensive suits, waiting to be ushered into their reserved booth, joined in the laughter. Their wealth didn't buy them class, only a louder voice for their ignorance. Marcus finally turned, his face a mask of impenetrable calm. He looked at Derek, not with anger, but with a kind of clinical curiosity, like a scientist observing a particularly unpleasant specimen. This unnerved Derek more than any shouting match could have. "I'm not lost," Marcus said, his voice quiet but carrying with an odd intensity. He pulled out his phone, a simple, unadorned model. The screen lit up his face, revealing a single text message. It was from his brother, Devon. The message read, "Almost set, you coming in?" The music from inside the club seemed to swell, a wave of bass and synth washing over the tense scene on the sidewalk. For a moment the world outside felt disconnected, a silent movie of cruelty playing out while the party raged on just a few feet away. Marcus's thumbs moved with slow, deliberate precision across the screen. He typed a short reply, "Hold tight." He sent the message and slipped the phone back into his pocket, his movements fluid and unhurried. He was in complete control of himself, even as Derek worked to strip him of all control. Derek saw the phone and scoffed. "Who you texting? Your mommy? Telling her you didn't get into the party?" He puffed out his chest, feeling the eyes of the crowd, feeling like a king on his little patch of concrete. He was the arbiter of cool, the judge of who was and who was not worthy. This man, with his cheap clothes and quiet defiance, was the definition of unworthy. Some people in the line, however, were starting to look away. The spectacle had grown too sour. A young woman whispered to her friend, "This is wrong. He's just being a bully." Her friend pulled at her arm, muttering, "Don't get involved. He'll just turn on us." So they stood and watched, their discomfort a silent testament to the injustice, but their silence a form of complicity. The music boomed from within the club walls, a siren song of the world. Marcus was being denied entry to, but for Marcus, the real music was the quiet hum of his plan falling into place. The humiliation wasn't a punishment, it was data, it was evidence. He had seen exactly what he needed to see. Finally, with a slow, deliberate grace that seemed to infuriate Derek even more, Marcus stepped away from the line. He didn't rush. He didn't look back. He simply walked toward the curb, an ignored and disrespected figure melting into the shadows of the parked cars. Derek watched him go, a triumphant smirk on his face. He had won. He had protected the sanctity of Pulse. He had put the nobody in his place. He turned back to the line, feeling powerful, feeling important, completely oblivious to the fact that he had not just insulted a customer, he had insulted the owner, and Marcus hadn't walked far. He had just moved to a better vantage point, a place where he could watch the first act of the play conclude before bringing down the entire stage. The scene shifts, the neon glare of the Miami night dissolving into the soft golden light of that very morning. The location is no longer a hostile sidewalk but a sprawling, minimalist mansion overlooking Biscayne Bay. This is Marcus King's home, a testament to a life of success built with relentless focus and quiet determination. He stands on a balcony, the warm morning sun on his face, a phone pressed to his ear. He is not wearing a simple polo and jean. He is dressed in a sharp, tailored linen suit, the uniform of a man who commands respect without demanding it. "The acquisition is ready to proceed," Marcus says into the phone, his voice calm and authoritative. "Finalize the terms with their board. I want a seamless transition." On the other end of the line, a lawyer confirms the details. They are talking about the purchase of a major nightclub chain, a multi-million-dollar deal being closed with the same lack of fuss as ordering a coffee. His assistant, a sharp young woman with a tablet, approaches him as he ends the call. "Mr. King," she says respectfully, "your brother is on the line for you." Mr. King, not Marcus, not bro, not boy. The contrast is stark. Here, in his world, he is a titan of industry, a man whose decisions shape skylines and balance sheets. But Marcus wears his power lightly. He is a billionaire who has never forgotten the feel of an empty stomach or the sting of a dismissive glance. On a sleek, modern desk inside his home office, there sits a single framed photograph. It is not a picture of him with celebrities or on the cover of a magazine. It is a faded, well-loved photo of a younger Marcus, a teenage Devon, and their mother. She is wearing a simple cleaning lady's uniform, her arms wrapped around her two sons, her face etched with exhaustion and fierce, unwavering love. She had cleaned clubs just like Pulse, scrubbing floors and polishing glass in the dead of night so that her boys could have a chance to dream of something bigger. That photograph is his anchor, his true north. It is the reason he refuses to flaunt his wealth, the reason he still drives a modest car, and the reason he is about to subject himself to the ugliness of the velvet rope tonight. He takes the call from his brother. "Devon," he says, a genuine warmth entering his voice for the first time. "You ready for tonight?" Devon's voice crackles with energy on the other end. "Always ready, big brother. The question is, are you ready? You sure you want to do this? You could just buy the place and fire the guy from your office." Marcus looks at the photograph of his mother. "No," he says softly. "I need to see it for myself. I need to feel it. Before we finalize the purchase of Pulse, I have to understand the real customer experience, not the one they show the VIPs. The one they show the person they think doesn't matter." This is his ritual. Before acquiring any new hospitality business, Marcus goes in undercover. He wants to know the heart of the places he owns, to see the cracks in the foundation that don't show up on a spreadsheet. He wants to know if the soul of the business is sound. And tonight at Pulse, he has a feeling the soul is rotten. Derek Cole, the bouncer who is about to deny him entry, has no idea that the club he so proudly protects is on the verge of being sold. He has no idea that his new boss, a man with the power to end his career with a single word, will be the man he chooses to humiliate. Marcus ends the call with his brother, a plan solidifying in his mind. He tells Devon he'll see him later, not mentioning his undercover mission. He wants Devon's performance to be genuine, untainted by the knowledge of what's happening at the front door. He walks to his closet, a vast room filled with bespoke suits and designer labels, and walks right past them. He pulls out the plain polo shirt, the simple jeans, the anonymous sneakers. He is shedding the skin of Marcus King, the billionaire, and putting on the costume of a man nobody would look at twice. It is a costume he wears with a strange sense of comfort. It reminds him of where he came from, it reminds him of his mother, and it will be the perfect tool to reveal the truth hiding in plain sight at the entrance of Pulse. The narrative shifts again, this time to the vibrant, chaotic world inside the club. The DJ booth at Pulse is a temple of light and sound, elevated above the dance floor like an altar, and at its center is Devon King, a figure of effortless charisma and magnetic energy. He is not just a DJ, he is a global phenomenon. His face has graced the covers of music magazines, his tracks top charts in dozens of countries. Tonight, he is the main event, the reason the club is packed to the rafters, the reason the people outside are so desperate to get in. He moves with a practiced ease, his fingers dancing across the mixer, his head bobbing to the beat he is creating. The crowd below is a roiling sea of bodies, moving as one to the rhythm he dictates. He is a conductor, and the entire club is his orchestra. Devon glances at his phone, propped up against a speaker. He's waiting for a message from his brother. "Bro, you here yet?" he texts, a smile playing on his lips. He can't wait to see Marcus. While the world knows Devon King as the superstar DJ, Devon knows the truth. He owes everything to his older brother. Marcus was the one who bought him his first set of turntables, who paid for his music production courses when they had nothing. Marcus was the one who believed in him when he was just a kid, mixing tracks in their cramped bedroom. Marcus had been his first and most important investor, not just with money, but with unwavering faith. They weren't just brothers, they were partners, bound by a shared history of struggle and a deep, unshakable love. Their mother had taught them to always have each other's backs, and it was a lesson they had never forgotten. Marcus had built an empire, and he had used his resources to help Devon build his own. Devon has no idea what is happening to his brother at the velvet rope. He is in his element, a world away from the petty cruelties of the street outside. He sees the adoring faces in the crowd, feels the energy of their worship, but his mind is on his brother. He pictures Marcus walking in, giving him a quiet nod from the back of the room, the way he always does. Marcus never liked the spotlight. He preferred to watch Devon shine, taking pride in his younger brother's success, as if it were his own. The warm-up beats that Devon is spinning are a steady, hypnotic pulse, a promise of the musical explosion to come. The dance floor is a simmering pot, waiting for him to turn up the heat, waiting for the beat to drop. Devon smiles. He has a special track planned for tonight, a new one he and Marcus had worked on together, a tribute to their mother. He decides he will play it the moment he sees Marcus walk through the door. He sends another text, "Hurry up, man. Place is going nuts." He is completely unaware of the drama unfolding just 100 feet away. He doesn't know that his brother is being pushed, insulted, and cast aside. He is lost in the music, in the love of the crowd, a world away from the ugly reality of the front door. The two brothers, connected by blood and history, are temporarily separated by a wall and a bouncer's ego. But that separation is about to be bridged by a powerful current of injustice, and when it is, the beat that will drop will be one of pure, unfiltered reckoning. The entire club, from the dance floor to the DJ booth, is about to become a stage for a drama far more intense than any light show. Not everyone at Pulse is oblivious. On the smoking patio, a glass-walled section overlooking the entrance, a young waitress named Sandra Lee is taking a short break. She leans against the railing, trying to catch a breath of the humid Miami air, the club's pounding bass a dull thud in her ears. From her vantage point, she has a clear, unobstructed view of the velvet rope and the drama unfolding below. Her eyes widen as she watches Derek Cole, the bouncer, confront the quiet man in the polo shirt. She sees the sneer on Derek's face, the aggressive posture, the casual cruelty in his movements. She sees him push the man. Her jaw drops. Sandra recognizes the man being humiliated. It's Marcus. Just last week, Marcus had been at the club, sitting alone at a small table in the back, observing. Sandra had been his waitress. She remembered being nervous, as he was so quiet and intense. At one point, she had accidentally spilled a little water on his table while refilling his glass. She had been mortified, apologizing profusely, terrified she would be reprimanded or lose her tip. But Marcus had simply smiled, a kind, reassuring smile. He had told her not to worry, that it was just water. When he left, she found he had left a $500 tip on a $20 bill. She had been stunned. She had tried to return it, thinking it was a mistake, but he was already gone. The money had helped her pay her rent and buy groceries for the week. It was an act of quiet, unexpected kindness that she had not forgotten. And now, she is watching the man who showed her such generosity being treated like trash. She sees Derek call him boy, hears the faint echo of the ugly words drifting up to the patio. A cold knot of anger tightens in her stomach. She knows Derek. Every server, every busboy, every staff member at Pulse knows Derek. He is a petty tyrant, a man who gets his kicks from belittling people. He treats the staff with the same disdain he shows the customers he deems unworthy. He is a poison in the club's atmosphere, a constant source of low-grade misery. Her hands tremble slightly, not from fear, but from a surge of protective fury. She feels a desperate need to do something to intervene, to stop this injustice. But what can she do? She is just a waitress. Derek is head of security. If she confronts him, she will be fired on the spot. She feels powerless, a helpless observer to a scene of casual cruelty. But then, a spark of defiance ignites within her. She thinks of Marcus's quiet dignity, of his incredible kindness to her. She cannot let this stand. She pulls out her phone. Her fingers are shaking, but she manages to open the camera app. With a surge of adrenaline, she hits record, pointing her phone's camera through the glass railing. She captures the end of the confrontation. Derek strutting triumphantly, Marcus turning and walking away with that unbreakable calm. It's not much, but it's something. It's proof. She stops recording, her heart pounding in her chest. She knows she is taking a huge risk. If Derek or any of the other security guards see her, she's finished. But her moral compass, the inner voice that separates right from wrong, is screaming at her to act. She remembers seeing the famous DJ, Devon King, arrive earlier. She had heard the staff whispering that he was the headliner, and she had heard a rumor A piece of gossip from another server. That the quiet man who tipped so generously last week was somehow connected to him. It was a long shot, but it was the only shot she had. Her fingers fly across the screen, her nervousness replaced by a steely resolve. She finds Devon King's official social media page, the one the club had told all staff to follow. She sends a direct message. It's a desperate, Hail Mary pass into the digital ether. She attaches the short video clip she just recorded. Her message is simple, urgent, and to the point. I work at Pulse. She writes, I think you need to see this. The bouncer at the front door just did this to a man who I think is a friend of yours. He's humiliating him in front of everyone. She hits send, her breath held tight in her chest. She has acted. She has chosen a side. She has thrown a small stone into the gears of the club's cruel machinery. Now all she can do is wait and see if it is enough to make the machine grind to a halt. Back at the front of the club, Derek Cole is basking in the afterglow of his power trip. He struts back and forth along the velvet rope, his chest puffed out like a proud rooster in a barnyard. He feels magnificent. He has vanquished the threat, expelled the undesirable, and maintained the pristine image of Pulse. He is a guardian, a warrior, a king. He approaches one of the junior bouncers, a younger man named Leo who both fears and admires him. You see that? Derek boasts, his voice a low, conspiratorial rumble. That's how you handle it. No fuss, no muss. You cut the head off the snake before it even knows it's a snake. Leo nods eagerly, his eyes wide. He didn't even know what hit him, man. Of course he didn't. Derek continues, his voice rising with self-satisfaction. He wants the remaining people in the line to overhear him, to understand the power they are dealing with. These guys, they come here thinking they can just walk in. They think the rules don't apply to them. They see a nice club, they see the lights, and they think it's a public park. He laughs. A harsh, grating sound. I'm the one who teaches them it's not. I'm the one who keeps the riffraff out. The word riffraff drips from his tongue with a special kind of venom. To Derek, riffraff is anyone who doesn't fit his narrow, prejudiced view who belongs. It's about clothes. It's about skin color. It's about a perceived lack of wealth. It's a judgment he makes in a split second. And once he makes it, it's irreversible. Another staff member, a hostess named Maria, overhears his bragging as she steps outside to call in the next group of VIPs. He forces a half smile, a cringe hidden behind a veneer of professionalism. She despises Derek. She has seen him turn away decent people for no reason while waving in obnoxious drunks who have money. She has seen him make women uncomfortable with his leering gaze. But like Sandra, she is powerless. She needs her job, so she says nothing. Her silence another small victory for Derek's reign of terror. Derek, however, mistakes her forced smile for genuine approval. He feels a surge of validation. You gotta have a feel for it, you know? He explains, as if imparting some ancient wisdom. It's a gut thing. I can spot trouble a mile away. That guy, he says, gesturing vaguely to the street where Marcus had disappeared. He was trouble waiting to happen. I probably saved the club from a lawsuit tonight. He truly believes it. In his mind, he is not a bully. He is a hero. He is protecting the club, protecting the patrons, protecting the very fabric of the Miami nightlife scene. He is completely, utterly oblivious to the storm that is gathering just beyond the horizon. He is so focused on his own reflection in the glass doors of the club that he cannot see the tidal wave coming his way. The walls of his petty kingdom are about to come crashing down, and he is standing right in the center, admiring the view. While Derek is busy preening, Marcus King is sitting in the quiet, climate-controlled comfort of his car, parked just down the street. There is no anger on his face, no hint of the humiliation he just endured. His expression is one of serene, focused intensity. He is not reacting, he is executing. The test is complete. The data has been gathered. Now it is time for the response. He takes out his phone, the same simple device he had used earlier. He scrolls through his contacts, his thumb moving past names of CEOs, celebrities, and politicians. He stops at a number labeled simply legal. He presses the call button. A voice on the other end answers immediately, crisp and professional. Mr. King. David, Marcus says, his voice low and even. We're moving on the Pulse acquisition. I want to accelerate the timeline. Accelerate, the lawyer asks. a note of surprise in his voice. Sir, the final papers aren't scheduled to be signed until Monday morning. Plans have changed, Marcus replies, his gaze fixed on the entrance of the club. A small, distant world of flashing lights and velvet ropes. I have a controlling interest through the initial stake we purchased last month, correct? Yes, sir, the lawyer confirms. Functionally, you already have the power to make operational decisions. Good, Marcus says. The word is cold, precise. I want you to start the paperwork now. Inform their board that as of this moment, King Entertainment is assuming full operational control of the Miami location. Tonight, there is a pause on the other end of the line. The lawyer, a man accustomed to billion-dollar deals and corporate takeovers, is momentarily stunned by the speed and audacity of the move. Tonight, sir. Tonight, Marcus repeats, his voice leaving no room for argument. I want it done in the next 10 minutes. He ends the call without waiting for a reply. The first domino has been pushed. The legal machinery of his empire is now grinding into motion, a silent, invisible force that will strip the current management of Pulse of their authority before they even know what is happening. Next, Marcus opens his messaging app. He pulls up the conversation with his brother, Devon. He types a new message, his words chosen with the care of a master strategist, laying out his final move. New plan, he texts. There's a track we made a few years ago, the one for Mom. Devon would know instantly which one he meant. It was a deeply personal piece of music, slow, soulful, and filled with a quiet strength that mirrored their mother's spirit. It was the opposite of the high-energy club anthems Devon was famous for. They had never played it in public. I want you to play it tonight, the text continues. But not yet. Wait. Play it when you see me walk in. He hits send. The message is a quiet command, a signal that the game is about to change. His calmness is not the absence of feeling. It is the presence of absolute certainty. It is the heavy, deliberate calm of a man who knows he is about to restore balance to a situation that has been thrown into chaos by petty cruelty. He has been judged by his clothes, by his skin color, by a man who saw him as worthless. Now he will reveal his true worth, not with shouting, not with anger, but with the quiet, devastating power of ownership. The game is set. The players are in position, and the final, decisive move is about to be made. Marcus starts the car, the engine a soft purr, and pulls away from the curb, circling the block to make his final approach. The atmosphere at the entrance of Pulse is just beginning to settle back into its usual rhythm of rejection and acceptance. Derek is still feeling the high of his confrontation, standing with his arms crossed, a smug look plastered on his face. He is the king of his small concrete castle. But then, something shifts. A sleek, black town car with tinted windows pulls up silently to the curb, not in the valet line, but directly in front of the main entrance. The car is expensive, understated, and radiates an aura of serious power. Derek's eyes narrow. This is not the typical flashy sports car of a VIP. This is something different. The back door of the town car opens, but it is not Marcus who steps out. Instead, a man in a perfectly tailored dark grey suit emerges. He has the polished, no-nonsense look of a high-powered corporate executive. He is followed by a second man equally well-dressed, then a third, and a fourth. 4 men in immaculate business suits, their faces grim and professional, step out of the car and stand on the sidewalk. They look completely out of place amidst the chaos of the club line, like wolves who have wandered into a peacock enclosure. They ignore the crowd, their focus fixed on something down the street. Derek freezes. His smug expression melts away, replaced by a flicker of confusion and a growing sense of unease. These are not partygoers. These are not celebrities. These men mean business. And Derek's gut, the one he so proudly trusts, is screaming at him that something is very, very wrong. Who are these men? What do they want? He uncrosses his arms, his posture shifting from arrogant to defensive. Then, he sees him. Walking calmly from the shadows down the street is Marcus. He is walking with the same unhurried pace, the same quiet confidence as before, but this time, it looks different. This time, his calm doesn't look like weakness. It looks like authority. He is not approaching the line. He is approaching the 4 suited men, who turn to greet him with a nod of profound respect. The first man, the one who looked like the leader, steps forward and speaks to Marcus. His voice a low, respectful murmur, but loud enough for the stunned Derek to hear. "Mr. King, we're ready for you, sir." "Sir." The word hangs in the air, a sonic boom that shatters Derek's reality. "Mr. King." The name clicks in his brain with the sickening finality of a guillotine dropping. King Entertainment. The whispers he'd heard about a potential sale, the rumors he had dismissed as corporate gossip. It couldn't be. Derek's mind races, trying to connect the dots, but his brain feels like it's full of static. He looks from the suited men to Marcus, the man he had called boy, the man he had pushed and mocked, the man in the cheap polo shirt. The blood drains from Derek's face. The color vanishes, leaving a sickly, pale mask of pure dread. His mouth opens slightly, but no words come out. The clipboard, his symbol of power, his scepter, suddenly feels impossibly heavy in his hand. The crowd in the line who had witnessed the earlier humiliation is now witnessing this silent, stunning reversal of fortune. A collective gasp ripples through the onlookers. Phones, which had been put away, are suddenly raised, their cameras capturing the unbelievable scene. Whispers erupt.
"Is that him?"
"No way. It can't be the same guy. Oh my God, the bouncer is so fired." Derek hears the whispers. He feels the 100 pairs of eyes on him, not with admiration now, but with a mixture of shock and glee at his impending downfall. His jaw, which had been set in a confident smirk just minutes ago, is now hanging slack. He looks at Marcus, truly looks at him for the first time, and he doesn't see a nobody. He sees a man who holds his entire world in the palm of his hand. And he sees that this man is about to close his fist. Inside Pulse, the energy is electric. Devon King is in his element, a master at work, holding thousands of people in a state of musical ecstasy. The beat is heavy, the crowd is sweating, and the night is reaching its peak. Devon, however, keeps glancing at the entrance, a slight frown creasing his brow. Where was Marcus? He had received the strange text about their mother's song, and it had set him on edge. "Play it when you see me walk in." The message was cryptic, heavy. It wasn't like Marcus. Something was wrong. He could feel it. Just as he is about to mix in his next track, a staff member rushes to the side of the DJ booth, his face pale and urgent. He shouts something over the music, but Devon can't hear him. Annoyed, Devon leans down. The staffer yells in his ear. "There's something happening at the door. You need to stop." Devon's heart lurches. His first thought is of his brother. He straightens up, his charismatic smile gone, replaced by a mask of cold fury. Without a moment's hesitation, he reaches over and cuts the music. He doesn't fade it out. He kills it. The needle scratch and the abrupt, shocking silence that follows is like a physical blow. The entire club, a universe of noise and motion, grinds to a dead halt. Thousands of people who were dancing and cheering a second ago now stand frozen in confusion. A wave of boos and angry shouts erupts from the dance floor. "What happened? Turn the music back on. Hey, DJ." The crowd is turning ugly. They don't know what's going on, and they don't care. They paid for a party, and the party has just stopped. Devon ignores them. He grabs the microphone, his knuckles white. The club lights, which had been a swirling kaleidoscope of color, now seem to focus on him, casting him in a harsh, interrogating glare. The silence in the club is now heavier, more complete than the noise ever was. Every single person is looking at him, waiting. "The party's over," Devon says, his voice amplified by the massive sound system, booming through the silent club like the voice of God. The anger in his tone is unmistakable. "The music doesn't start again. I won't play another beat, not until my brother is allowed to walk through that door." A confused murmur spreads through the crowd. His brother? Who was his brother? The name Devon King was famous, but his family life was private. The club lights, as if guided by an unseen director, swing away from the stage and fix on the main entrance at the back of the club. 1,000 heads turn in unison. The entire massive venue has become a theater, and everyone is now staring at the same spot, the door. Outside, Derek can hear the silence. The absence of the pounding bass is more terrifying than any sound. He turns, his face a canvas of pure horror, and looks toward the entrance. And then he sees it. The doors swing open, pushed by one of the suited men, and Marcus King walks in. He walks past Derek as if the bouncer is nothing more than a statue, a piece of furniture. He doesn't look at him. He doesn't acknowledge his existence. He is flanked on either side by the men in suits, a phalanx of silent corporate power. The crowd inside, seeing this procession, lets out a collective gasp. Phone cameras, which had been pointed at the DJ booth, now whip around, their flashes like 100 tiny lightning strikes, illuminating the scene. The club is dead still, a tomb of shocked silence, as Marcus King, the man who wasn't good enough to enter, walks calmly and deliberately toward the stage. Marcus walks through the parted sea of clubgoers. The path to the stage, usually a chaotic crush of bodies, is now a wide, open lane. People instinctively back away, their faces a mixture of awe, confusion, and dawning comprehension. They see the man in the simple clothes, the man who doesn't look like he belongs, flanked by men in suits who look like they own the world. They see him walking towards the stage where the world-famous DJ Devon King is waiting for him with a look of fierce, protective love. The pieces of the puzzle are clicking into place in 1,000 minds at once, and the picture they form is stunning. Marcus steps onto the stage. The cheap sneakers he wears make no sound on the polished surface. He is calm, his breathing even. He has been in boardrooms where billions of dollars were at stake, and he felt more pressure there than he does now. This is not business. This is justice. Devon immediately throws his arms around his older brother, a hug that is both a greeting and a shield. It is a public declaration of solidarity, of love, of an unbreakable bond. The crowd watches, mesmerized. This is not part of the show. This is real. Marcus gently pulls away from the hug and turns to face the crowd. Devon hands him the microphone. As Marcus takes it, one of the suited men steps forward and discreetly helps him remove his polo shirt. Underneath, he is wearing a crisp, perfectly fitted white button-down. Another of the suited men hands him a tailored blazer. In the space of 10 seconds, he transforms. The anonymous man is gone. In his place stands a figure of quiet, undeniable power. The costume of the common man is shed, and the king is revealed. "Good evening," Marcus says into the microphone. His voice is the same as it was outside, calm, even, and without a trace of anger. But amplified by the club's powerful sound system, it carries an immense weight. It fills every corner of the silent room. "Some of you may know my brother, Devon King." He gestures to Devon, who nods grimly, his arm still draped protectively over Marcus's shoulder. "My name is Marcus King." A few scattered gasps are heard from the crowd. The name is not as famous as his brothers in the world of music, but in the world of business, in Miami, the name King is synonymous with power. It is the name behind a vast empire of real estate, tech, and hospitality. Tonight, Marcus continues, his eyes scanning the sea of stunned faces. "I decided to visit this club, not as an owner, but as a guest. I wanted to see for myself how the people who come here are treated. I wanted to feel the real customer experience." He pauses, letting the words sink in. The silence is absolute. You could hear a pin drop on the sticky dance floor. "And I saw the truth," he says, his voice hardening almost imperceptibly. "I saw that here at Pulse you are judged not by the content of your character, but by the brand of your clothes. You are judged not by your decency, but by the color of your skin." More gasps ripple through the room. Phones are held high, every single one recording. The story is unfolding live and everyone knows they are witnessing something unforgettable. Then Marcus delivers the final devastating blow. "As of an hour ago," he announces, his voice ringing with the clear, cold authority of fact. "My company, King Entertainment, finalized its acquisition of this venue. So, as the new owner of Pulse, I want to thank the bouncer at the front door," he pauses again, a master of timing, "for showing me exactly what needs to be changed." The word owner echoes through the crowd, passed in frantic whispers, typed into phones, mouthed in disbelief. Jaws are on the floor. The arrogant bouncer who thought he was God's gift to nightlife had just humiliated the one man he should have feared most. The truth has been revealed, and the entire club is reeling in its wake. All eyes, including Marcus's, turn from the stage to the back of the club. The spotlight follows his gaze, swinging around to illuminate the entrance, where Derek Cole stands frozen, a statue of pure terror. He is trapped in the glare, exposed and vulnerable. The power he wielded so cruelly just moments ago has evaporated, leaving him utterly naked in front of 1,000 witnesses. Marcus's voice cuts through the silence once more, sharp and final as a judge's gavel. "Derek Cole," he says, the name spoken with a chilling precision. "You said to me, go back to wherever you came from, so let me return the favor. Get out of my club. You're fired." The words are simple, direct, and absolutely devastating. They land with the force of a physical blow. Derek stumbles back a step, his face contorted in a mask of disbelief and panic. He opens his mouth to speak, to plead, to argue. But only a dry, croaking sound comes out. He looks desperately toward the other security staff, his former allies, but they refuse to meet his eyes. They stand rigid, their faces pale, distancing themselves from the man who has just been so publicly condemned. Devon, his face still a thundercloud of anger, steps up to the microphone beside his brother. His voice is a low growl of fury. "And you are banned for life," he adds. "From this club, and every other venue we own. Now get out." Derek starts to stammer, his mind finally catching up to the catastrophe that has just befallen him. "Mr. King, I didn't know. I was just doing my job." His voice is a pathetic whine, a desperate plea for a mercy he never showed to anyone else. It is the sound of a bully who has finally met a force he cannot intimidate. Marcus watches him, his expression cold and unmoved. "Your job," Marcus says, his voice cutting Derek off, "was to provide security, not to dispense prejudice. Your job was to ensure safety, not to humiliate people for your own amusement. You failed at your job." Before Derek can utter another word, two of the suited men who had flanked Marcus walk briskly from the stage down the now clear path toward the entrance. They move with a quiet, efficient purpose. They don't touch Derek aggressively. They don't have to. They simply stand on either side of him, their presence an undeniable command. "Sir," one of them says in a low, firm voice, "you need to leave. Now." Defeated, humiliated, and utterly broken, Derek turns. He is no longer a king in his castle. He is a prisoner being escorted from his own execution. He walks toward the exit, his head bowed in shame, the jeers and laughter of the crowd now directed at him. He can feel the burn of 100 phone cameras on his back, recording his walk of shame for the world to see. The crowd, which had been stunned into silence, erupts. A wave of cheers and applause washes through the club. It is a cathartic release of tension, a collective roar of approval for the justice they have just witnessed. But Marcus isn't finished. He raises a hand, and the crowd quiets down again, eager for the next chapter of this incredible story. "There's one more thing," he says. "Tonight, one person here showed integrity, one person showed courage." He scans the crowd, his eyes searching. "Sandra Lee, are you here? Can you please come to the stage?" From the side of the room near the smoking patio where she had witnessed the whole thing. Sandra emerges. She is trembling, her face pale with shock and disbelief. She can't believe he remembered her name. Other staff members nudge her forward, their faces full of awe. She makes her way through the crowd, people patting her on the back as she passes. She walks up the steps to the stage, her heart pounding. Marcus meets her with a warm, genuine smile. "Sandra," he says, his voice full of gratitude. "Tonight, you saw an injustice, and you chose to do the right thing, even at great personal risk. That is the kind of character I want at the heart of my company." He turns to the crowd. Effective immediately, Sandra Lee is promoted to VIP floor manager of this club. The crowd erupts again, louder. This time, Sandra's eyes fill with tears. She can only manage to whisper, "Thank you, sir. Thank you." The bully has been fired, and the ally has been rewarded. The balance of power in Pulse has been completely and publicly rewritten. The applause slowly fades, but the electric energy in the club remains. Marcus holds the microphone, his expression softening. He is no longer just an owner settling a score. He is a man with a message, and he has the attention of every single person in the room. He looks out over the crowd, not as a billionaire looking down at his customers, but as a man speaking from the heart. "My mother," he begins, his voice steady and clear, "was a cleaning lady. She worked in places just like this one, late at night, when all the guests were gone." A new hush falls over the crowd. This is not what they expected. The story has taken another turn, becoming something deeper, more personal. She wore a simple apron to work every night. Marcus continues, his eyes distant for a moment, lost in a memory. And people judged her for it. They saw the apron, and they saw a servant. They didn't see the woman who worked 2 jobs to put food on our table. They didn't see the woman who taught her 2 sons to be proud, to be honest, and to treat every single person with dignity, no matter what they wore or what job they had. He looks directly at the crowd, his gaze sweeping across the room, making eye contact with as many people as he can. She was the strongest person I have ever known. Her heart was bigger than this entire club. But most people never saw her heart. They only saw her apron. The message is powerful, its meaning unmistakable. The story of the bouncer, the humiliation. It wasn't just about a dress code. It was about a much deeper prejudice, the kind his mother had faced every day of her working life. Don't ever, Marcus says, his voice rising with a quiet passion, judge someone by what they wear. Don't ever judge someone by the color of their skin. You never know the battles they are fighting. You never know the strength they hold inside. You never know if you are talking to a janitor or a king. He turns and nods to his brother. Devan, his eyes wet with unshed tears, understands the signal. He turns back to his DJ equipment. The club is still silent, hanging on every word. Tonight, Devan says into his own microphone, his voice thick with emotion, we want to play a special song. This is for our mother. He presses a button. There is no beat drop, no pounding bass. Instead, a slow, beautiful, soulful melody fills the club. It is the track he and Marcus made for their mother. A piece of music filled with love, resilience, and a quiet, powerful grace. The music washes over the crowd, a gentle wave of healing after the storm of confrontation. It is a moment of pure, unadulterated emotion. The lights soften, casting a warm glow over the stage. The screen behind the DJ booth, which usually shows chaotic visuals, now shows a single, slowly fading image. The old photograph from Marcus's desk, of his mother with her arms wrapped around her 2 young sons. The story is complete. Justice has been served, a moral has been delivered, and a tribute has been paid. The screen fades to black as Marcus and Devon stand side by side, 2 brothers united, their silhouettes framed against the image of the woman who made them who they are. The club, once a temple of superficiality, has just been given a lesson in what truly matters. The story does not end when the music fades. By the next morning, the events at Pulse have exploded into a viral sensation. The dozens of videos recorded by patrons, capturing everything from Derek's initial confrontation to his humiliating dismissal, are all over the internet. The hashtags Pulse owner and bouncer fired are trending worldwide. News outlets pick up the story, running articles with headlines like billionaire owner goes undercover to expose prejudice at his own club. Derek Cole's face, frozen in a moment of panicked disbelief, becomes an instant meme, a symbol of arrogance getting its just desserts. His digital footprint is wiped clean by a flood of negative comments and public shame. He has not just lost his job, he has lost his name. The comment sections on the videos and articles are a tidal wave of support for Marcus King. People from all over the world praise his actions, his humility, and his powerful message. This is how you use power, one comment reads. Not to crush people, but to lift them up, another says. I wish my boss was Marcus King. His story resonates with anyone who has ever felt judged, overlooked, or disrespected. Devon posts a single picture on his social media accounts. The same photo of him and Marcus with their mother that was shown in the club. His only caption is, proud to call him my brother. He taught me everything I know about strength and character. The post gets millions of likes in a matter of hours, and at Pulse, a new day has dawned. Sandra Lee arrives for her first shift not as a waitress, but as the new VIP floor manager. She walks with a newfound confidence, her head held high. The rest of the staff greet her with a respect they had never shown before. The atmosphere in the club is transformed. The fear that Derek had cultivated is gone, replaced by a sense of hope and a renewed sense of purpose. Marcus has already implemented new mandatory sensitivity and anti-bias training for all employees, from the security staff to the managers. He has made it clear that the culture of Pulse will now be one of inclusivity and respect, from the front door to the back office. The final scene is a quiet one. Sandra, dressed in her new, smart manager's uniform, stands on the now empty smoking patio, looking out over the city as the sun rises. She smiles, a real, genuine smile of hope. The story of Marcus King and Derek Cole is a dramatic tale of a single night, but its lesson is a timeless one. True power isn't loud or arrogant. It doesn't need to boast or bully. True power doesn't shout. It simply shows itself when it is needed most, and the world has no choice but to stop and watch and learn. If this story about dignity and justice moved you, don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one. What would you have done in this situation? Let us know below.